I'm so very sorry I'm not able to be there in Williston with you this morning for what I anticipate will be a great event. I want to thank Jason and Roland for planning and pulling this expo together and for the invitation to speak to you this morning. I also want to thank your fabulous mayor for his wonderful introduction. He's been great to work with, and I know his years of service to the great city of Williston. These are challenging times for the oil and gas industry in North Dakota. With Williston at the epicenter of the energy renaissance in North Dakota, and really quite honestly in the United States, you've certainly felt the full effects of the ups and downs. Your community and city have been transformed by this new oil and gas production in our part of the world called the Bakken, and that part of that change has involved smart investments for the future. I think whether it's the expansion of the programs at Williston State College, the entrepreneurs who have started businesses, or the longtime residents who have expanded or diversified their businesses, Williston has laid the groundwork for really a bright future, not just in just energy, but all across the board. While this progress is certainly encouraging, I know that the downturn in oil prices since last fall has resulted in layoffs and reduced hours throughout the Bakken region. These can be trying times for communities, especially when you cannot really predict how long the market will maintain prices at this level and when a sustained upturn may occur. However, North Dakota has already shown the North Dakota resilience and inventiveness in the face of this challenging market. While the rig count has gone down dramatically since last year, North Dakota has maintained and even some cases increased production during that time. This shows that North Dakota will continue to be at the heart of innovation and efficiency in oil drilling and production well into our future. A key component of maintaining production is building out the necessary pipeline infrastructure. This will drive down transportation costs for oil and increase values to North Dakota's natural gas and North Dakota's natural gas liquids. I continue to push for a stream permitting process and against unnecessary regulations. And a provision I worked on with Senator Capito from West Virginia that would do just that was included in the bipartisan comprehensive energy bill. Another way to ensure continued development and production in the Bakken is to loosen or remove the country's outdated and unnecessary regulations on crude oil exports. The United States is already the world's leading exporter. Now, I want to repeat this because so many people don't realize this. The United States is already the world's leading exporter of refined petroleum products. So to somehow make the argument that we should maintain a policy blocking the raw material, i.e. the crude oil, from being exported so we can keep prices for refined products down makes absolutely no sense, economically or no common sense. I've been pressuring this administration and talking to my colleagues in the Senate since last fall about removing the crude oil export ban. I've worked with two separate bills, both bills with Senator Murkowski. They've both had hearings, her bill, which I'm co-sponsoring, before the Energy and Banking Committee, and my bill, which has in fact had a hearing in the Banking Committee. And so we're double teaming this and trying to make sure that as many of our colleagues have the ability to understand why it is so important that we lift this ban and that we do this right now. I think when you look at why lifting the ban is important, we know that it would afford U.S. producers the same advantage of all other oil-producing nations, which is an open market to our product. Can you imagine if we told our corn farmers that they couldn't ever export a bushel of corn? Can you imagine if we told that to anybody else in the country? You couldn't export a car, but yet we have singled out the oil industry for that restriction, and it makes no sense economically, it makes no sense in terms of global prices, and it's a policy that should never have been adopted, incidentally adopted originally by President Nixon, but it should never have been adopted, and certainly does not need to continue when we're in the middle of this shale development and the energy renaissance in our country. And so we're going to work even harder to get this change in policy in federal law changed, but we're also going to continue to push the administration. Since we have been pushing the administration, they've lifted the ban on condensates, and they've also taken a look at allowing for swaps which was in response to a letter that Senator Murkowski and I sent. We're hoping that we can even, swaps down in Mexico, we're hoping that we can even expand that development with the administration. So we may not be in a period of rapid development any longer in the Bakken, but when we look at what you've accomplished and what Williston has done, making grand strides, laying that foundation for a successful transition to a more diverse and sustainable economy while still being at that heart of this energy renaissance, it truly is fantastic, and it didn't happen without leadership, and that means leadership in your great community and in your great counties. So I want to thank you again for the invitation. I'm sorry to have missed all of you out in Williston. I know that I will see you when I'm back in the state. Again, Mayor, congratulations on the great work that you do. Congratulations on all of the work that's being done. And we need to roll up our sleeves and support you here in Washington, D.C. with lifting, with changing policies, particularly those policies that relate to lifting the ban on crude oil exports. So we're working hard, and I have great optimism that we actually may get results yet this year.